Our New Testament reading for this Sunday, January the 4th, 2026, Happy New Year, is from Matthew chapter 2, 1 through 12. It is the story of the visitation of the wise men. There are many ways that you can go with a commentary on the wise men. I've talked about the star before, how the fact that there was a supernova and a comet that would have attracted attention around the world. How in 7 BC, all of the signs came together. So Jesus was probably not born around 0 AD, but more like 7 BC, according to our new calendar. The wise men would have gotten there sometime after the birth, around 18 months after the birth. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but we know that based on the calculations, Herod kills all children who are 2 and under. So we know that Jesus wouldn't have been over 2 years old based on the calculations. We also know that Mary is in a house in Bethlehem, and she has not moved from that house, which tells us that it's probably 18 months. They would have wanted the child old enough to have been weaned so they could travel safely. There were those who traveled and nursed at the same time, but given the dangers of travel and the distance, it makes more sense to have a child that is not suckling at the time. Therefore, you can escape bandits and other prey along the way. So that's the time period, and there's a lot of calculations that go into that, which I'm not going to do today. There's also the issue of God's providence, which always touches me. Herod is going to do a pursuit and kill the children. And as long as Herod's alive, he will see this child as a threat. So, Mary and Joseph have to escape. They have to leave. Now, in around 50 BC, 50 BC, I can't remember which right off the top of my head, Rome officially conquered Egypt. The whole Cleopatra and Mark Antony thing. Watch the movie, see the Shakespeare play, or read the history. However you want to get there. But the Ptolemy rule ended, and Egypt became part of Rome. And so, Pax Romana, the peace of Rome, meant transportation, safety, safe transportation throughout the Roman Empire, even between the provinces. So they could have escaped to a different province, one in Egypt, where they were outside of the control of Herod, but still safe. And because they had gold, frankincense, and myrrh, portable and valuable treasures, God ensured that Jesus and his parents were taken care of, even in the midst of exile. This speaks volumes to those of us who at times have worried where the money will come from. And if I take this path that God's calling me to walk, how am I going to make it? This other looks like it's going to bring a lot more money and security. But God is calling me this way. God will provide. God's providence. We are often faced in our lives with job choices, whether that means a job or moving and changing locations or careers, that of ourselves or our spouses. And we're often faced with the temptation that Jesus faced in the desert. When Satan goes to him and says, "Bow down to me and I will give you the kingdoms of the world." And there are many who bow down to him. They are the rich and the famous, the wealthy, those who play by the rules of the world, where morals count for nothing and profit counts for everything, where greed and selfishness are rewarded and compassion and love is considered a vulnerability. We celebrate these individuals. We call them entrepreneurs, and we make shows about them, reality shows. And we call them leaders and titans of industry. It's interesting that the word titan comes from mythology, not from God's chosen book. But if you follow God's call in your life, you will find that God provides what you need and takes you in a path that is more secure, more fulfilling, and greater than you could imagine, even if it's not rewarded by the world. Mary and Joseph stepped out in faith. They had a child, and suddenly, just by having a child and strangers showing up, their lives were in danger, and so was their child. And yet God provided a way out and a means of support until Herod died. The story of the wise men's a wonderful story of God's providence. But there's something else I'd like to add as well. Something that has come to my attention, and I've been getting really interested in this. There's a book by Peter Frankopan, The Silk Roads, A New History of the World. And it talks about the Silk Road and commerce and that connection between East and West, and all of not only the goods that traveled, but the ideas, the religions, the exchange of cultures. It said that China took the corridor that was a pass north of the Himalayas in around 115 BC. And then when Rome took Egypt, it opened up the Red Sea, and suddenly there was transport readily available, up to 100 and something Roman ships a year traveling back and forth to India. And with the corridor open, suddenly you could literally go from the east to the west and back again. This opened up the roads for the Magi to return, to come back, to bring gifts. Now, we know that frankincense and myrrh come from Arabia, but they also come from India. We don't have any reports of silk coming. Although it's interesting to think that based on the flimsiness of silk, the transparency of silk, a Roman senator during the time of Jesus commented on how fashion among the very rich was starting to go toward wearing silk, and how women could wear silk and claim that they weren't naked, although there was nothing left to the imagination. And it's curious, was silk used when Salome danced for Herod? Was this new, exotic clothing so enticing, so luxurious, and so tempting at the time? Is that why the dance was so intoxicating for Herod? Interesting thought. Possibility based on what the Roman senator Seneca said about it and how he wanted to outlaw it completely because of its problems in society.